Hi everyone, it's Tony here from the Refinement Not Retirement podcast, where we say, refine your life, don't retire from it. Today is the last day of 2023, New Year's Eve. We hope you've all had a very Merry Christmas, and we wish all you fellow refiners a very happy 2024. I'm joined as usual today by my lovely wife, Christine, who, if you're watching via video, you will be able to see both of us on screen. How are you doing, Kiki? Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year's Eve to everybody who's listening.
Brilliant. So one of what we wanted to talk about today, because tomorrow we will be going into January 2024, and we want to talk to you about Veganuary. Now, you've all heard of Veganuary, haven't you? Well, if you're a regular listener to our show, you will know that we have talked from time to time over the many episodes that we've published about our own veganism, and you will have heard our story, or my story. I was the original one that turned vegan, and Christine shortly after me. But this morning, because Veganuary have started their annual campaign, of course, in preparation for the start of January tomorrow. And I was listening this morning to their origin story, which I knew actually nothing about. Veganuary is very well known because so many big companies have jumped on board, seeing that veganism is very much on the rise, and therefore there is increasing consumer demand for it. But I had no idea. I thought they were some sort of massive organization. Didn't you, Christine?
Yes, and actually, I have to confess, I actually haven't looked at the film yet, but I'm very excited to look at it because of what you told me this morning. So, when you say a large company, what do you mean by that?
Well, I thought it was a big
They're
charity.
tiny.
I thought it was a big charity, and I was very surprised. I will share the link on our Facebook,
Yes,
our show's
good.
Facebook page, so that everyone can see it. It's not a very long film, but it really touched me. They made this film to celebrate their 10th anniversary. It's been going 10 years. Started in
Which is fantastic,
2013,
isn't
I
it?
think. Yeah, it really is. And they literally started. It was a young couple, who started it from a kitchen table in Yorkshire. And it's in that 10 years, it's become massive. It's global. And they have teams in many, many countries. And the idea of Veganuary is to just say to people, hey, because lots of people, you talk to people these days, and so many people are reducing their meat intake. Quite drastically. I mean, they maybe only have meat once a week, but it's saying to people, but without being finger waggy, it's saying to people, give it a try, just for 1 month, see what it feels like. And we, the organization, are saying this. We will help you. We will. If you find it difficult to adjust, and everybody understands why it would be a little bit challenging to cut all animals out of your diet. This organization really helps, and with all kinds of very valuable and helpful tips. So I was just sort of going to relate that to my own story, and I didn't turn vegan out of any concern for animals, really. My primary reason was health. I had a bit of a cholesterol issue when I'd never had one before, and suddenly it was beginning to concern my GP, who wanted to put me on medication, and I didn't want to do that. So I don't really want to go into this whole story again because I've done it before. It's available, you can listen to it on previous podcasts, and I don't want to repeat myself. But just wanted to say it wasn't because I had this enormous, overwhelming, as many people do have, and maybe this isn't something I should be proud of, but I didn't have this very overwhelming feeling that I had to stop eating animals for their sake. I feel differently about it now, but that's been a period of adjustment.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah, I know you do too, and that's been a period of adjustment.
Yeah.
But this business of adjusting your diet, I saw when I was looking at my own health situation, everything that I researched, because I didn't want to go on medication, everything I researched told me that I needed to cut all animals out of my food. And so it was the science on it was really crystal clear, and it goes back a long, long way. Bit like this, it's a bit analogous to the smoking situation. You know how they knew, the tobacco industries knew a long, long time ago, long before it was known to be so harmful to one's health by the general public. They knew that it was bad, and that's why they got into so much trouble with lawsuits and so on. It's a little bit similar.
Well, it is, but it's But let me just say, I mean, I think sort of losing the sort of what we're talking about here with the Veganuary, because when you're starting, talking about animals, I mean, and I'm the same as you. I'm not a passionate animal lover. I have become more and more like that. But it's interesting how the opposite of people who are very passionate animal lovers and serious passionate animal lovers, like particularly dogs and cats and well, just lots of animals, but don't relate pets and the eating of animals to the food that they put on their plates as an animal, because I think we talked about this before. It's a completely different removal of the mindset.
Yes,
but when you put your turkey on the plate.
Sorry to interrupt you, but what I was getting to really was I wanted to say that what I like about Veganuary, it doesn't seek to lecture to people. It just simply says, because I don't think I would have reacted well to have been lectured to, but it simply says, look, it's pretty clear that we've got a climate problem. One of the best ways that you can solve that is by not eating animals, because that produces an enormous amount of CO2. That whole food industry, it takes up a lot of land, blah blah blah, etc., etc. It's good for you, your health, the reasons I've just touched on, and so it's good for the planet. It's good for you, your health, and it's also good for animals because we don't have to do awful things to them that the food industry does.
But we feed them. We spend a lot of money and food feeding them to kill them, to eat them. So but yes, I mean,
but I wanted to get off that kick, and just because you have been, people who've heard my story will have known that when I announced to you that this was my decision, I decided to go vegan. You said, "You've ruined my life." That was your first reaction.
Yes, but I wasn't, I hadn't given it any thought. I mean, it was something you'd given a lot of thought to, and I hadn't given it any thought to.
Right. So what I wanted to share with our listeners is, because you have become an incredible vegan cook. I mean, you went from that statement of saying you've ruined my life because you really loved eating animals, as I did. You went from that statement and that feeling to a completely different place, even though you didn't at that time turn vegan yourself. And you've just now got to a point where, I hardly ever want to eat anywhere else than because your food is so incredible.
Well, thank you. That's sweet of you to say so.
And so I wanted for you to talk about that, because I'm going to stop now talking. And I wanted you to talk about how you adjusted to that, what you do, how you made substitutions, what things you found the hardest, and also to share some recommendations to other people. Like, for instance, what did you do for Christmas? How the hell did we get through Christmas without eating 3 turkeys or whatever? All that sort of stuff. So over to you, Christine, please. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Well, it's actually made cooking very exciting. I would say that, first of all, because something how can I say? When growing up, my mother wasn't a particularly good cook. She wasn't a good cook at all. So I think a lot of people experience food as survival. They eat just to live, basically, without much sort of thought other than let's put whatever cereal at breakfast, and or we grew up on bacon and eggs and fried foods and fatty fat and oil and and custards and creams and cakes, trifles and puddings and stuff like that. And it's just the way you grow up is probably the way your sort of traditions carry on in life. Sunday roast, Friday fish, just because we are just creatures of habit. So, and also I think when we before we became vegan, I was I would say quite a lazy cook, because Waitrose and Marks and Spencers and places like that, if you remember, when there's just two of you at home, it's very easy to go and buy a pre
ready meal.
Ready meal, with two chicken breasts in it, in a lime and coriander sauce, and put that in the oven for 20 minutes and boil some new potatoes, and you do your favorite vegetables and stuff like that. So and I remember there was deals on a Friday in Waitrose for lobster tails, which was just very decadent, but they were quite cheap on a Friday, and you get 2 for £7, and we would have those draped in butter. And again, I can't remember what we had with them, but it was we ate out a lot as well, and we would go out and eat lots of Indian food, which was one of our favorite foods, and still is our favorite food, I would say. So it made me have to stop and think a little bit more. So when we started, I would look up recipes. Well, actually, I still do, but where it would say vegan casserole, or a vegan cassoulet, a sausage cassoulet, or a vegan food. And then I started realizing, the recipes are good, but then I started realizing that anything that we used to eat, like a shepherd's pie with minced lamb, it can be just made with a soya mince or lentils. So it's just adjusting the main ingredient, like a pasta dish, a spaghetti bolognese, Mexican tortillas, anything. And people ask me, they go, well, how do you have a fully English cooked breakfast? Let's start with that one, because we did have that yesterday morning, didn't we? Did we have it this morning? No, we had it this morning, Sunday. So Sundays we do have our full English breakfast.
So we even have vegan scrambled egg with it, don't we?
We even have tofu scrambled egg. Again, I'm a bit naughty because I buy the ready scrambled already, but obviously it can be made from the tofu, and you chop that up and follow the recipe for that, and add black salt, which gives that sort of eggy smell to it. And toast with avocado, tomatoes, obviously vegan anyway. Avocado is baked beans. Oh, I forgot to put your refried beans on this morning. Whoops.
I know
Sorry.
that, but I thought we had enough.
Oh, did you? I completely forgot. As I'm talking about it, I realised I forgot about it. And the bacon that we use, there's a delicious plant-based bacon, which crisps up lovely.
Richmond, I think the brand, isn't it? Richmond.
Yes, that one we particularly like is a Richmond really good, brand.
Because there are certain things. Not sorry to interrupt you. I said I was going to speak,
mushrooms as well. Sorry,
but there are certain things, aren't there, that people really feel they're going to miss. Probably the bacon is a main one.
Yes, we thought we'd miss that too, didn't we?
We did, and the other one, of course, is cheese, which that's really the big one, I think, that people mention all the time.
Yes, and I still think that, in all honesty, it's got a long way to go. People are trying and trying, and the recipes are changing all the time. the Philadelphia cream cheese with bagels is very good.
Yeah.
And there Nushi is another one. I think my favorite one now is, although it's almost too good to be true, really, and probably not that healthy for you, is La Fromagerie, which we've just discovered, because I missed blue cheese very much, and camembert. I miss camembert and brie and Stilton, and they do an equivalent of that, which I think is the most fantastic cheese. Started by a couple of women in London, in Shoreditch. They have their own shop, and that's now produced in not produced. It's now in Waitrose, and I think that's a fabulous alternative. So all the time, when people are struggling, to find alternatives, it's just getting better and better and better. I think a few years ago, when people that were vegan much longer, ago than we were, must have had really quite a struggle, because there really was not a lot. You've got your lentils, your beans, your vegetables, your potatoes, but to get a decent alternative butter, to get a decent alternative cheese, to get a decent alternative, a lot of plant-based alternative to meats. Like I buy a lot of the plant-based chicken called not chicken, which I put in Indian
Well,
food.
now, of course, recently you started going back, taking us back to having Sunday roasts, which involve a plant-based chicken, I think.
Yes,
roast
with
chicken.
stuff and
Marks and Spencer's,
and then
is it? Is it or
yeah.
Waitrose? Is it Mark?
No, it's neither. It can be found in Tesco's and Waitrose.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, is there a make? Is there a brand name?
It's a not chicken.
Oh, not.
I think it's not chicken
This
roast.
is not chicken
I think a bit
roast.
like
Okay, yeah, because there's
yes.
that brand. This is not. So this is not pork sausage. That they have a whole range like
yes,
that.
exactly,
And
the bacon and the sausage.
good, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
And again,
Well,
and then just everything else is bread sauce made with, an alternative milk.
Well, you can't tell the difference, really.
You can't tell the difference.
It's better than dairy, really, because cow's milk has some pretty unpleasant things in it, like pus and stuff like that. We don't think about that, but you don't obviously get that from nut milks, like almond milk and
well, it's just
it's
all a natural food, isn't it? And vegetable gravy and all the roasted trimmings. People have said to me, and I think that probably is true, because I talk about our food as being delicious all the time. I get the mickey taken out of me a bit,
it is delicious.
by my sister.
It is delicious.
We think it's delicious, yes. And I think, yes, and it is delicious. But our taste buds have clearly changed and are very different. So somebody, when I say taste this, I think it's delicious, they go, well, it's not really, is it? And I think it is. But it's like with anything. It's like getting used to a cup of tea without three sugars in it.
Yes.
Like we grew up having. I used to have 3 sugars in my tea. Now the thought of tasting a cup of tea with any sugar in is disgusting to me. So it's
habits.
It's habits, and it's wanting to change. You can only do this if this is something you want to do. You, as you rightly say, you can't be dictated. Oh, it's bad for you eating, smoking cigarettes. It's bad for you drinking, 25 units of wine a day. People have to know that for themselves and want to do something about it, don't they?
They do. Absolutely.
That's the beauty. No way around it.
That's the beauty of Veganuary, because this campaign that runs annually just says, give it a try, see how you get on, and we'll help you. And also, they've encouraged. They were approached as a result of their success of their campaign. They were approached by all these companies, like Tesco's and Marks and Spencer's, and all these people who were seeing this demand. And so they started responding, and now so many brands are producing vegan alternatives. Burger King, even McDonald's, Pizza Express has a dedicated vegan menu, and
they do.
Bill's, so many of them. This has happened, and it's become sort of big business to cater to people who want to go on a plant-based diet and cut out animal products, which
Well, and I think people, yes, I think
go
people
ahead.
when they come for dinner at our place feel very surprised that you don't have that 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 weight feeling inside of you after a large meal that you'd
Mm.
have if you've got uh, um, a roast beef or a roast chicken or roast turkey, because it's 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 the what would you say it is that causes the weight? It's the not being able to digest it
Yes,
so
it
quickly.
it takes a
It's
lot more
the
energy. That's why you get tired after a big animal product heavy meal.
yes,
It takes so much energy for your body to break down, to
yeah, and I think
digest.
I would say that probably is probably the greatest feeling that we have from being vegans, wouldn't you
Mm.
say? Because
Mhm.
there's never that heavy feeling inside,
But
and
also that,
like you said,
and realizing that the delicious stuff that you now have on your coming to your plate on your plate has not come from cruelty to animals, the animals being kept in terrible conditions, disgusting,
or
poo
the
everywhere that
slaughterhouses.
but they have to
Did you
give them
read?
so much, but
Yes,
they have to give them so much antibiotics in America they even have to
clean them out.
chlorinate the chicken. That's where the chlorinated chicken comes from, because they've got to get rid of all this horrid stuff that the food's been exposed to. You
Yes.
don't
Did
have
you
any
see
of that.
the?
Everything's clean. You have clean food, and you can see it with your dishwashing. Because
Oh
I do
yes,
dishwashing, don't I? So I did it the days when we had animals. I mean, you're getting pots and pans and plates clean
clean.
was a
Yeah,
lot more
everything just comes
difficult. Now
straight
that
off,
everything
doesn't it?
falls off with water, you just rinse it, it just goes away. Well, that shows you what animal products are doing to your arteries.
Yes, and did you see that? There was something, I think it was on Instagram the other day. It said the reason the reason people hide slaughterhouses away from human beings is because if anybody ever went inside one, they would become vegan immediately.
Yeah,
I,
well,
I
my
think
grandfather used
they
to
say
work in one, and he said that to me. You wouldn't want
they have a lot.
you wouldn't have
Yes,
another sausage if you went
well, no,
in an
exactly,
abattoir.
but going back to the sort of the roast days, of course, we had Tony, Amanda, and Tom, our daughter and husband, who've been vegan much longer than we have,
Yes.
and it was so lovely to have. It was a delight to have four of us for Christmas. Um, knowing that we all only are vegans, which was just terrific. Not even, yeah, I can't explain. It was a very happy feeling, and I'd made a mushroom Wellington and had frozen it. I think I'd made it. Yes, I'd made a couple for Thanksgiving and frozen one of them. I'd made a nut roast again, and we'd had that at Thanksgiving, so we had that for Christmas. And then for the first time, I spotted that I wasn't expecting it to be as nice as it was, but the Marks and Spencers, it's not turkey roast, and it was just really I did that with a cranberry and chestnut stuffing. I wanted to do it just so there was a little bit of sliced meat, if you like, but isn't meat, because that's another subject, I guess, which we can talk about, where people say, well, why do you need to call it meat
Well,
when
they
it's
say more
not
than that. They
meat?
say, well, if you're a vegan, why do you want to eat stuff that mimics meat, don't they?
Yes,
And
yes,
I
exactly.
understand that. Well, the reason for that is because we come from our tradition is that that's the way for thousands of years
Yeah,
we've eaten. But you can still enjoy those same sensations, whether it be turkey, whether it be chicken,
yes,
as
the
we've said,
chewing of
whether
it
it be
rather than yes,
whether it be shrimp, whatever it is, you can still enjoy those textures because there are plant versions of them now.
yes, well,
and
exactly. So that's why I did
and none
that,
of
and
them
to me, it
contain, because
tasted
they come
nice.
from plants, they do not contain cholesterol, because cholesterol is only produced by animals, and it's only animals, including humans, because we produce our own cholesterol in our bodies as well as we get
Yes,
that we derive from animal products. So
yeah. So I
you
mean,
can
it was
so we still
lovely.
wanted to we don't want to get away from the things that we've always loved. In fact, we want to get as close to them, like you said, the scrambled egg, when you start, you'll find scrambled eggs that are plant-based scrambled eggs that are really not very good, without mentioning any brand names. But then you find one that really is great. And in fact, I would say the tofu one, and that's the name, isn't it? TOFOO. That's the brand name, I think. They do the scrambled
Tofu.
egg. You can get it from Tesco's. And I find it just much nicer than eggs because I don't have to think about, what really goes into an egg. And I remember once I actually ate a boiled egg which had a chicken in it. And when I saw that, I went off eggs for a long time. So, you don't have any of that going on. And you actually find that they are more healthy because they have things like turmeric in them, which is a natural anti-inflammatory. Um, uh, and again, you're not having those bad things which can fur up your arteries and so on. And I enjoy those things, and I still want to eat bacon, but I don't want to eat bacon that involves cruelty and involves those deleterious health consequences for my body. So that's the reason why we still want
Yes,
to eat in as close to a traditional way as we can. Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
and we don't even think, we don't even think about it, do we, anymore? It just comes automatically to us, and the roast potatoes and the parsnips and the carrots and the Brussels sprouts and the vegan gravy and the bread sauce just made from an alternative milk again.
I remember
To
that.
me,
I remember that was my biggest thing was coffee because I do love coffee, and I always loved cappuccinos, and I always had milk in them. And
yes,
finding a substitute that didn't taint the coffee, because almond milk taints it, all the nut milks taint it.
hazelnut, mate. Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
And we went through several brands we've been through, and it's actually taken us quite a while until we ultimately settled on oat
Yes.
milk. And
Well,
oat milk
I want to just
cappuccinos are
say,
better. Oat milk cappuccinos are
yes.
way better than milk ones. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that milk was probably the last thing that cow's milk that I gave up when I
Mm.
became vegan, because I kept everything else, and I kept thinking I can't have anything else on my cereal. I can't have, I've got to have the cow's milk. And as you say, I started doing it, and we went through different. Almond milk I think is good on cereal, but the oat milk is definitely the only one for us, isn't it?
Yes.
And cappuccinos for
So the brand
coffee,
that we
and you
use
don't
is
even taste anything, do you? It's
yeah,
just like a
with oat milk,
creamy,
you have got
lovely.
a little bit careful with sugar. All our alternative milks, whether it be almond, hazelnut, or oat for that matter, we always go for the unsweetened version. But that does not mean that
Yes.
it doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't have some sugar in it.
Well, they
And
put
oat milk,
rice
you
in
have to
some of
be,
them, don't they?
yeah, they do. Oat milk, you
Yuck.
have to be careful with. And we now go for the Oatly no sugars. We go for the long life one. You can get a sort of not long life one, whatever the whatever the opposite of long life is, short life, I suppose.
Yes.
You can go for that, but the no sugars version we find the best, and it's really. I mean, as I say, I would never go back to cow's milk in coffee, or well, I don't think I'd go back to it. No, I wouldn't go back to it because the dairy industry
Yes.
is a very cruel
And
industry and very bad for your body.
yes. I think the only thing I haven't mastered yet, and I have to put my hands up and confess, is cakes, baking. I've been a bit disastrous with that. I'm okay with crumble, for instance, like a fruit crumble, because again, the alternative butters, blocks are just as good to rub into the flour and sugar for the crumble base, and oats and apple pie. Most pastries that you buy, and even if you don't buy them, you make your own. You just make it with the alternative butter, which is excellent now. The ice cream is very good.
That vanilla
There's a lot of,
Swedish one is really good.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
glaze it's called, but there's tons of ice creams now. Ben and Jerry's do them. All sorts of people do. Jude's do them. Lots of magnums. You can even get the magnums now,
Oh, with the hazelnuts
which
on
are,
them, which is great.
yes, with
Yeah.
and without. It's incredible. But the cakes I just haven't quite mastered yet, because um, although I can buy some good ones. I mean, I think we've got a delicious chocolate Yule log, haven't we, that we're eating
From
our way through
Waitrose. Yeah.
from Waitrose, a
It's
plant
good. Yeah. With
chocolate
some
one.
vanilla ice cream. And then you even found some brandy cream that
Yes,
was vegan.
Elmley do a
Elmley, okay.
brandy Elmley cream, which was lovely. For our Christmas puddings, which were
Yeah.
vegan
Yeah.
also.
Yep. Absolutely.
Just don't have the animal suet fat in them that some of them do. So, I mean, it's endless, to be honest, Tony. As you know, dry pastas are great with different
Indian food,
sauces.
you're doing one
Indian
tonight, aren't you?
food.
For our New
We're
Year's
having an
Eve dinner.
Indian for our
Yeah.
New Year's Eve dinner. Yes.
Lentils for
But
that? Would you say what would you do for that? Lentils?
yes,
Yeah.
lentils to do a dal with that,
Yeah.
which is
Beautiful.
lovely, and potatoes and
Okay.
lots
Well,
of vegetables and
we're
delicious sauces.
we're running out of time, and you're making me extremely hungry by talking about all this
Well,
delicious
you've got a
food.
long time to
Ooh,
wait for
I
your dinner.
know, I know, I know. But that's been great, and anybody who wants to ask us about what we eat and anything about veganism, don't hesitate to raise a question with us through the podcast platform, which is Spotify, or through Apple Podcasts, or the best place probably is our
Yes.
Refinement Not Retirement Facebook page, which you can easily
But can
find
I
on
can I just
Facebook.
also ask, just if people would, even if let us know if they'd be prepared to, they're intending on trying Veganuary. Would be thrilled to hear from them and see how they get on for the month.
And we'd help them. We'd be more than. I mean, obviously,
Absolutely,
the
we would.
Veganuary
Yes.
campaign do this stuff, and if you sign up on the Veganuary website, or you just Google it.
And they're on Instagram. I
Um,
follow them on Instagram. Get lots of
yeah,
recipes from there.
but if you want to sign up for the challenge, the Veganuary challenge, which means let's see if we can try and go vegan for just 1 month, just see what it's like, and you'll discover all kinds of things. You'll get a lot of tips from Veganuary. They'll send you emails throughout the month.
Recipes, don't they?
They'll
They've got
send you
recipes from
recipes,
different.
all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff, and you can just give it a try and just see. I mean, you might be really, really surprised. And
Pleasantly surprised.
to the extent that we can, if you've got any specific questions, we will have encountered it before. One thing that we haven't discussed, but we perhaps we'll have to do that in another episode at some point. But eating out can be a bit of a challenge, but there is more and more, as I've mentioned, more and more outlets and restaurants are catering very well for vegans. But there is an app which is really, really helpful, it's a free one, called Happy Cow, and that will tell you anywhere you are in the world where you can eat
Yes.
eat out and stay vegan. So that's a great source. But go to the Veganuary website, veganuary.com, all sorts of fantastic stuff on there. And we're continuing to learn, aren't we? We're finding new products all the time. We recently found a future tuna, because I used to love my tuna sandwiches. Go to Subway or whatever. I don't know why Subway haven't got this future tuna. They're missing a trick there, because that enables me to enjoy what I used to enjoy and know that it doesn't have all that harmful stuff
Yes,
in it.
you do it with vegan mayo and sweet corn and
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah, it's
tomatoes and
brilliant. Brilliant,
on some
absolutely
nice
brilliant.
granary bread. It's lovely.
Okay, so time to wrap up. Thank you very much, Christine, for all that good stuff. Anyone, as I say, any questions, don't hesitate to raise your hand through the Facebook page. We'll get back to you. We'll get back to everyone, and just think about Veganuary and maybe give it a try. If you only try it for a week, that would be great. If you could do the whole month, even greater. And if you can stay that way, then you've done yourself, the planet, and the animals a huge favor. But we're signing off now, and thank you for your support, and continue to listen to us, please, and share and like and all that good stuff. And we will see you next year. So for now,
Yes.
it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from a very passionate vegan, Christine. Happy New Year to you all.
Yes, Happy New Year, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.